Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Tiabu and I watched some more new shows today, as has been the case for the last week and a half, and it feels like an eternity. There were four new shows today. That's a lot for a day that already had some shows, but I kind of dropped everything that aired today anyway, so cool. Four new shows. First thing I watched this morning was Assassin's Pride. This was not the worst thing I've ever seen, but definitely not what I would call good. This gets a solid, slightly tilted down sideways thumb from me. It was just barely okay. One thing that you'll notice if you do decide to watch the show is that it has the same character designer as the irregular at Magic High School, which is rather apparent from the character designs. Not that they're weak character designs or anything, it's just like a direct mirror. It also definitely has some elements that are trying to be SAO-esque, which is not a way to get in my good graces. All in all, the storytelling was okay, but really fumbly. The production is fine. It's not gorgeous or glorious or anything, and the action scenes that do show up are kind of just bullshit action. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Bright flashes of sword light, distinct lack of choreography or care. Main character starts the episode by slicing through about 1 billion bullets coming his way with a katana, because he does, as you do. And it's all done in flashes of light with not animation. It's okay. The actual storytelling beats were... What do I have on my shirt? Oh, it's ink. Jesus, I stained my shirt. Crap. The actual storytelling beats were meh and didn't super land for me. They felt rather tired. Not something that I would recommend, not something that I'm gonna watch more of, but it does have some interesting bits of world building, and it's okay. Honestly, this feels like your generic isekai, except that it's not an isekai. That's probably the best way I can describe it. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a really good way to describe it. It feels like it should be a generic isekai, because then it would be easier to dismiss as just like, oh, it's a generic crappy isekai. No, no, it's native magic, but it's just a generic crappy show. The book might be better. I don't know. I don't care. Not interested. Next three things that I watched today were all pretty damn good, which is a bit of a problem, because that's a lot of shows. Okay, so the second thing that I watched this morning was No Guns Life, and this, I would say, is the best episode 1 of a show that has come out of Madhouse in 4 years, since OPM season 1. It was a really solid first episode. It's got a cool neo-noir aesthetic, which carries over into the design, the shading, the distinct use of shadows for characterization and stuff like that. Some cool shot composition, cool music. I really like this show. It doesn't have the greatest looking backgrounds in the world, nor is the production the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life, but it is certainly competent. And after scrolling through the first chapter of the manga just to check, because I wanted to see whether a lot of the style that we were seeing in the episode was from the anime or coming from the manga, it seems to be a really solid and faithful adaptation of the source material, which is pretty well regarded, which is a good thing. All in all, I really like the main character. He's awesome. He's somebody on my Discord described him as badass, but also a goof, which is just right. And that's exactly who he is. He's your classic neo-noir hero protagonist type. He's the private eye who's seen some shit and does odd jobs for people, and he gets caught up in something much bigger than he ever expected, and that's pretty cool. We've got him versus the world, and that's awesome. He also has a gun for a head, if that wasn't apparent from the promo art and other material. He has a gigantic gun for a head, and it makes him really imposing and intimidating, but also just, it gives a really cool vibe to the entire show. I'd say, check this one out, it's pretty cool. Third thing that I watched was by far the most surprising thing that I watched today, and maybe the most surprising thing that I watched this week. I am going to back this show as my new pick for a Dark Horse Anime of the Season contender. In very much the same way that I backed Arabaru last season, I think this has a lot of the same kinds of quality. That didn't make sense. Same kinds of qualities, because they're plural. A lot of the same qualities as Arabaru. This is a character drama in high school focused on a boys' soft tennis team, which is about to be disbanded, and it's pretty clear that a lot of the characters we're working with have some damage or some difficulties in their personal lives that they're going to be striving to overcome. This episode actually left me in shock for a moment after watching it. It resonated a lot more than I expected it to. And just generally, I liked everything about this show. I liked the character designs. They're simple, they're relatively flat and not terribly detailed, and I think that works for this particular story. There's also a fluidity of movement in the show that's really nice, and I really appreciate the color design. I really like this episode. It's cool, it's interesting, and it's an anime original. I would say if you're a fan of such things, check this one out. And if you liked Arabaru last season, this is not exactly in the same vein of like heart attack inducing romance. In fact, there's almost no romantic element in the show at all, but very much in the same vein of, oh, this is real shit. So check that one out. That it was a really pleasant surprise. Yeah, give that one a shot. I will be watching that from here on out until it falls off the deep end, which I don't expect that it will do. And then finally, the one that is not a surprise to anyone, it was pretty good. It's Beastars. It's finally out. Post-Apocalyptic Subs finally actually released their sub track for it and released the episode. Went and watched it. It was pretty good. It's pretty fucking good, but you probably already knew that, so I don't know why I'm telling you. I think there are some interesting things going on in terms of the ideas on display. Not a lot of them came to the fore in this first episode, but I can assume that they will be talked about in much more detail as we move along with the series. The characters are interesting, they read clearly, and it is produced by Studio Orange, who brought us Hoseki. It is a full CG anime, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Show looks pretty good, definitely looks as good as it needs to get the source material across, and I don't know, you're probably already watching it. You've probably already seen the first episode, you probably have your own opinion on it. Cool. It was pretty good. Yeah. So, all in all, Assassin's Pride gets a pretty instant drop from me. No Guns Life, unless it falls apart real fast, is pretty solid, and in my opinion, the best thing that Madhouse has produced in 4 years, which is kind of cool to see a studio that I've been saying for a while is on its back foot, kind of past its prime, coming back with a pretty good show, at least a pretty good first episode, and promise of good things to come. Hoshiai no Sora, knockout. Honestly, this first episode was a bit of a knockout, and I would like more people to be watching it because I will be watching it, and I hope that more shows like it are produced because it's really good, at least for now. And then Beastars, you already know, it's pretty good. A lot of people are going to be backing this for show of the season. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go that far. I think that the strengths of the show come from the source material. The majority of the strengths of the show come from the source material. So I don't know if calling the anime the anime of the season or anime of the year is warranted. My opinion on that might change as we move along, though. We'll see. Just trying not to overpraise what is praiseworthy. It's certainly praiseworthy, but I don't want to use like superlatives to describe it because I don't know if it deserves them yet. But we'll see. It was mostly a character introduction episode, an introduction to the world, which makes sense because it's a weird world with interesting characters. All in all, today was a really good day of anime, like really good. And if you happened to enjoy some of the things that aired last week on Thursday, I should say, like Azure Lane or Azure, whatever, or Choyoyu, then this will be a very happy day for you. So there is a massive cluster of really good shows on Wednesday and Thursday, and it's kind of a problem. The other thing that I just want to mention offhand is that this season, on paper, didn't look like the super crazy best season of anime ever, but it's shaping up to be one of the strongest seasons of anime that we've had in a while, which is kind of cool and also kind of tiring because there's only so much time in the day. Japan, please! Japan, please! Stop making good shows! No, don't, actually. I love them, but stop making them all at once! Anyway, that's all I want to say. I've been Tiabu. These are the shows that I watched. I hope this helps you decide what you want to watch. everything except maybe Assassin's Pride. It wasn't very good. Yeah, that's it. Peace.